Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is enjoying their day. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. The Young and the Restless spoilers are in for the next 2 weeks. From September 8th to 19, 2025, fans can expect Mariah Copeland, Cameron Grimes, to make a confession. Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, shares a secret with Sharon Newman's Sharon case. Plus, Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope, has a twist coming up. Keep reading, and let's talk about what to expect in the CBS soap opera. Claire Grace Newman's Freakout. Before getting to the 2 weekers, let's talk about what is coming up from September 8th to 12th. Fans can expect Victor Newman's Eric Braeden bombshell about a secret deal to infuriate Claire Grace Newman, Haley Aaron. The young woman will confront Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, and blow up over the secret deal. The Young and the Restless thrives on explosive character turns, and spoilers tease that Claire Grace Newman's Freakout could send shockwaves through Genoa City in ways that no one is prepared for. The newest Newman to fully enter the fold has already been a lightning rod for controversy and high drama, but her next move may define her character for years to come. A freakout from Claire is not just about one outburst or a single moment of heightened emotion. It's about the culmination of trauma, manipulation, family tension, and identity struggles that have been bubbling beneath the surface since her introduction. This moment will test Claire's relationships, force the Newman family into uncomfortable confrontations, and ultimately determine whether she emerges as a redeemed heroine or slips back into darkness. Claire's arrival on Y&R was already dramatic. Her troubled history, her connection to Jordan, and her role in the twisted plot against the Newmans gave her one of the most intense introductions in recent soap memory. Many viewers were quick to peg her as a villainess in the making, while others saw shades of vulnerability in her performance that hinted at something more complex. Now, with Claire firmly woven into the Newman family orbit, spoilers suggest that she may not be as stable as she appears on the surface. Her freakout could be triggered by pressure from Victoria and Cole, lingering resentment toward Jordan, or even suspicions that her place in the Newman family isn't as secure as she desperately wants it to be. This freakout isn't coming out of nowhere. Claire has carried a lifetime of scars, both literal and emotional. Raised in secrecy and manipulated by Jordan into believing lies about her family, she has struggled to reconcile the truth with the narrative she grew up with. While she has tried to bond with Victoria, Nick, and the rest of the clan, there's always been fragility about her, an edge that suggests she is one wrong move away from unraveling. Spoilers hint that her upcoming freakout may be connected to feelings of rejection or betrayal. Perhaps she overhears a conversation where the Newmans question her loyalty. Maybe she feels sidelined in family decisions. Or maybe Jordan makes another move from the shadows to push Claire back into paranoia and mistrust. Whatever the trigger, the outcome will leave Genoa City buzzing. Victoria's role in this storyline cannot be overstated. As Claire's mother, she has been walking a tightrope between nurturing her daughter and protecting her family. She wants desperately to believe in Claire, but she has also been burned by betrayal too many times to blindly trust anyone. A freakout from Claire could leave Victoria shaken, questioning whether she truly knows her daughter or whether she has invited chaos back into the Newman fold. If Victoria reacts too harshly, she risks pushing Claire away. If she reacts too softly, she may be accused of enabling instability. Spoilers suggest that Victoria's maternal instincts will clash with her Newman upbringing, where strength and control are prized above all else. This conflict to be one of the most emotionally raw beats in the story. Cole Howard's presence adds another emotional layer. As Claire's father, Cole has been cautiously rebuilding a relationship with his daughter, hoping to give her stability and a sense of belonging. A freakout threatens to undo much of that progress. Cole, who has always been more sensitive and empathetic than most of the Newman men, may be in the best position to calm Claire down. But even his patience could be tested if Claire's outburst spirals into actions that put herself or others in danger. Spoilers hint that this could be a pivotal moment for Cole, proving whether he has a resolve to stand by Claire through her darkest moments or whether he will retreat from the intensity of her emotions. The larger Newman family also cannot ignore the ripple effects. Victor, who has always prided himself on protecting his family dynasty, will undoubtedly see Claire's freakout as a liability. The mustache is not known for patience with emotional outbursts, And if he believes Claire could be manipulated again or could pose a threat to family unity, he may push to cut her off. Nikki, still reeling from her own battles with Jordan and addiction struggles, may be more sympathetic to Claire's fragility. She knows what it is like to feel weak, cornered, and misunderstood. Nikki could become Claire's unexpected ally, though her support may come at a cost, rekindling Victor's anger or driving new wedges into the Newman marriage. Spoilers also raise the question of how Claire's freakout will be perceived outside of the Newman household. Characters like Nick, Adam, and even outsiders like Audra or Kyle may interpret her instability in ways that impact business and personal alliances. If word spreads that Claire is volatile, it could damage Newman Enterprises' reputation or complicate the family's united front against rivals. Genoa City thrives on gossip, and one freakout could quickly snowball into a narrative that Claire is unfit to be trusted with Newman power, money, or influence. Psychologically, Claire's freakout speaks to a deeper theme of generational trauma. The Newmans have always been a family defined by secrets, betrayals, and intense rivalries. Claire's struggles are not unique in this regard. She is simply the latest Newman to be consumed by the pressures of living up to the family name. Her outburst may be less about weakness and more about the weight of expectation. Fans know that living as a Newman is never easy, and Claire's freakout may be a natural response to being thrust into a dynasty where loyalty is demanded but rarely given without suspicion. Fan reaction to this storyline is expected to be intense. Viewers already debate daily whether Claire should be trusted, redeemed, or written off as a villainess. A freakout will only fuel this fire. Some will sympathize, seeing her as a victim of Jordan's manipulations and years of abuse. Others will argue that Claire has had enough chances and that her volatility proves she cannot be trusted. Social media discussions will likely erupt with theories. Is Claire on the verge of a mental health crisis, or is she secretly plotting something more sinister and using her outbursts as a cover? The ambiguity of her motives makes this one of the most intriguing arcs on the canvas. As Y&R leans into this storyline, the writers have an opportunity to explore mental health in a nuanced way. If Claire's freakout is framed as a genuine psychological breakdown, it could open doors for storylines about therapy, recovery, and resilience. If, however, it is framed as a manipulative move or a sign of her darker impulses, it could cement her as a new soap villainess for years to come. Spoilers suggest that the writers may keep fans guessing, blurring the line between vulnerability and manipulation to keep Claire unpredictable. The fallout from Claire's freakout could also reshape relationships outside her immediate family. For instance, if Summer, Kyle, or even Harrison are somehow caught in the crossfire, it could strain already delicate alliances between the Abbotts and Newmans. If Claire lashes out at Audra, it could ignite a new rivalry between two ambitious women who both want to carve out power in Genoa City. If Adam sees an opportunity to exploit Claire's instability, he could use her freakout as leverage against Victoria, setting off another round of sibling warfare. The possibilities are endless, and each one promises juicy drama. Ultimately, Claire Grace Newman's freakout is not just a single storyline beat. It is a turning point. Spoilers make it clear that this outburst will redefine her character and her place within the Newman dynasty. It will test her parents' loyalty, her grandparents' patience, and her cousins' trust. It will fuel rivalries, spark debates, and create ripple effects that touch nearly every corner of Genoa City. Whether she emerges from this moment stronger, more self-aware, and closer to redemption, or whether she succumbs to the darker impulses that have haunted her since childhood, Claire's freakout will be remembered as a pivotal chapter in the young and the restless ongoing saga. Audra Charles spooked. Over with Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver. She gets spooked by a threat. It seems that Holden Novak, Nathan Owens, will threaten to expose their crime if she doesn't back off Claire. This will cause Audra to panic a bit. However, it also suggests that Audra might have committed the crime, while Holden just covered it up. Holden said he would go on living his life as normal, so it sounds like Audra has the bigger risk here. The young and the restless spoilers suggest Audra Charles is about to face one of the most pivotal moments in her Genoa City journey, and fans are buzzing that she may finally be spooked enough to rethink her choices. Audra is a character who thrives on confidence, bold moves, and a carefully polished image of control, but spoilers hint that the cracks in her armor are beginning to show. For a woman who has built her reputation on manipulating situations to her advantage, The idea that something or someone could shake her composure is a storyline ripe with possibilities. The drama ahead promises to redefine Audra's alliances, force her to question her future, and potentially expose vulnerabilities that she has worked tirelessly to bury. Audra's rise in Genoa City has been nothing short of remarkable, entering the canvas with sharp ambition and a knack for inserting herself into power struggles. She quickly became a major player. Whether aligning herself with Nate Hastings, Victor Newman, or Tucker McCall, she always managed to stay one step ahead, or at least give the illusion that she was. Audra has often been painted as the type who knows what she wants and isn't afraid to go after it, no matter the cost. But spoilers reveal that the facade may not last forever. Even the most confident schemers have moments when their past catches up to them or their rivals close in, and for Audra, that reckoning may finally be at hand. So what could have Audra Charles spooked? Spoilers suggest several possibilities, each more dangerous than the last. One theory is that Tucker McCall, the man who has often been her ally and her greatest threat, could finally turn on her. Their relationship has always been defined by a push and pull of trust and betrayal, with Tucker recognizing Audra's ambition while also keeping her on a short leash. If Tucker decides that Audra has outlived her usefulness or crossed a line, he could very well pull the rug out from under her. That possibility alone would be enough to rattle Audra, as she knows Tucker has the resources and cunning to make her life miserable. Another possibility is that Audra's past is about to come back to haunt her. Viewers know that Audra's history is full of questionable choices, shady business dealings, and opportunistic alliances. While she has worked hard to keep the more unsavory details hidden, Genoa City is a place where secrets never stay buried for long. If someone digs into her past, whether it's an old flame, a business rival, or even a Newman determined to cut her down, Audra could find herself exposed in ways she never imagined. For someone who thrives on control, the threat of exposure is often the most terrifying thing of all. Of course, there's also the matter of Audra's relationships. Her connection to Nate Hastings has always been layered with attraction, strategy, and mistrust. While the two have undeniable chemistry, they also know they are dealing with equals who are just as capable of betrayal as they are of loyalty. If Nate begins to suspect that Audra is plotting behind his back, or if he decides to use her ambition against her, she could find herself blindsided. And if she feels cornered by a man she thought she could outmaneuver, her sense of security would be shattered. Spoilers suggest that Audra being spooked could have everything to do with realizing that she can no longer control the men around her the way she once did. Victor Newman is another wild card in this storyline. For all of Audra's maneuvering, the one thing she has never been able to do is truly outsmart Victor. She may think she can manipulate situations to her advantage, but Victor has a long history of playing the long game, and Audra may be underestimating him. If the mustache has been quietly pulling strings behind the scenes, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, Audra may finally realize she is not as untouchable as she thought. And if Victor is the one who leaves her spooked, it could signal the end of her ambitions at Newman Enterprises and beyond. Spoilers also suggest that Audra's current state of unease could be tied to Claire Grace Newman. Claire's arrival in Genoa City has unsettled many characters, but some like Audra may see her as both a threat and a potential pawn. If Claire's instability leads to unpredictable behavior, Audra may find herself caught off guard. A confrontation with Claire could shake Audra in ways she didn't anticipate, especially if Claire sees through her manipulations or calls her out in front of others. For a woman who prides herself on controlling the narrative, being exposed by someone as unpredictable as Claire would be deeply unsettling. What makes this storyline so intriguing is that Audra being spooked doesn't necessarily mean she will crumble. In fact, it could make her more dangerous than ever. Spoilers suggest that fear could drive Audra to make bold, reckless moves to protect herself. If she feels cornered, she may lash out at her rivals, make desperate alliances, or even cross lines she once swore she wouldn't. Fear has a way of stripping people down to their core instincts, and for Audra, those instincts are all about survival. This could lead to some of the most dramatic and unpredictable moves we've ever seen from her. Fans are divided on Audra's potential freakout. Some believe it's about time she faced consequences for her endless scheming, while others love the idea of seeing cracks in her carefully constructed persona. On social media, Many viewers speculate about who could realistically spook a woman as confident as Audra. Some say it has to be Tucker, given their complicated history, while others argue that only Victor has the power to truly make her sweat. Still others think her own conscience, long buried under ambition, may finally catch up with her, leaving her spooked by her own reflection. Regardless of the cause, spoilers promise that Audra's shaken confidence will ripple through Genoa City. If she falters, her rivals will seize the opportunity to strike. If she pushes back, the resulting conflicts could ignite explosive new feuds. Her relationships with Nate Tucker and the Newmans could all be tested in ways that redefine her role in town. And perhaps most importantly, viewers will finally get a glimpse of the woman behind the mask, the one who isn't always in control, who could be rattled, and who may not be as invincible as she wants the world to believe. In the end, Audra Charles' being spooked is less about a single moment of fear and more about the larger question of what happens when a master manipulator loses control. Spoilers made it clear that the storyline will peel back layers of Audra's character, showing fans a side of her they've never seen before. Whether she emerges from this stronger, more ruthless, and more determined than ever, or whether she spirals into self-destruction remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. Audra Charles being spooked is a storyline that will keep viewers glued to their screens, eager to see whether fear becomes her downfall or her fuel. Mariah Copeland confesses. As for Mariah, expect her to make confession. This could be with Tessa Porter, Kate Fairbanks. However, I doubt that Mariah will give her the full truth, and that's really what Tessa wants. At this point, a betrayal no longer matters to Tessa. She just wants to know WTF happened. It doesn't sound like Taraya will reunite right now. So, Tessa will continue learning on Daniel Romalotti Jr., Michael Graziadei. Meanwhile, Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, gets a cryptic message. This could be from Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope. The redhead will question Billy Abbott's, Jason Thompson, decisions. Of course, the cryptic message could be from Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn. 2. Maybe he'll offer the intel about Victor's deal in order to create a new alliance with Jack. At some point, Sally faces an ethical dilemma. As for Nick, he shares a secret with Sharon. Plus, Victor and Michael Baldwin, Christian LeBlanc, settle unfinished business. The young and the restless spoilers tease that Mariah Copeland is heading into one of the most emotionally intense chapters of her Genoa City story, and whispers suggest a confession could shake up her world in ways she never imagined. For years, Mariah has been one of the more layered, nuanced characters on the canvas, a woman whose past mistakes and struggles continue to collide with the life she's worked hard to build. Spoilers point to an upcoming storyline where Mariah is forced to come clean about something that has weighed heavily on her heart and mind, and the fallout from that confession could ripple through her family, her marriage, and her friendships, forever altering her place in town. Mariah has always been a character defined by contrasts. She was introduced as Cassie's troubled lookalike, a woman scarred by a rough upbringing, deception, and manipulation. Over time, she evolved into one of the most reliable, empathetic, and resilient voices in Genoa City. Yet the echoes of her past have never fully disappeared. Whenever Mariah faces a crossroads, the darker parts of her history tend to resurface, influencing her choices and casting doubt on her ability to stay grounded. Spoilers suggest her latest confession could tie into this very theme, as she once again finds herself confronting her past while trying to secure her future. What exactly is Mariah confessing? Spoilers remain vague, but several possibilities are being heavily debated by fans. One theory is that Mariah may confess to feelings of guilt surrounding her relationship with Tessa and the struggles they've faced as parents. Becoming a mother has been both a joy and a challenge for Mariah, and though she has stepped into the role with love, it hasn't always been easy. If she admits that she feels overwhelmed or that she has doubts about her ability to balance everything, it could open up an emotional storyline about honesty, vulnerability, and growth. Tessa would likely be supportive, but Mariah may fear her confession will be misinterpreted as regret or weakness, threatening the stability of their marriage. Another theory gaining traction is that Mariah could confess to something connected to Sharon. As Sharon's daughter, Mariah has always wanted to live up to her mother's example while also carving out her own identity. Their relationship has been through many ups and downs, from times of deep closeness to moments of tension and mistrust. If Mariah confesses to hiding something from Sharon, whether it's about family, business, or personal struggles. It could create fresh friction between them. Spoilers hint that Sharon may once again be pulled into the center of family drama, and Mariah's confession could be the spark that sets it off. There is also speculation that Mariah's confession could tie into secrets about her time working at Newman Media or with other power players in town. Though Mariah is not as enmeshed in corporate battles as characters like Victor, Victoria, or Nate, she has occasionally found herself pulled into their orbit. If she has witnessed something shady, participated in a cover-up, or knows a truth that could impact the Newmans or the Abbotts, her decision to confess could create seismic ripple effects in Genoa City's business landscape. Spoilers suggest this could be the kind of storyline that pits Mariah's integrity against her instinct for self-preservation, and whichever choice she makes will come at a cost. Perhaps the most intriguing possibility, though, is that Mariah's confession will tie back to her history with secrets and manipulation. Fans remember her darker days, when she was involved in cons, lies, and betrayals. While she has grown beyond that chapter of her life, those scars remain. If she has recently made a decision that echoes her past mistakes, confessing could become a moment of truth where she acknowledges her flaws and seeks redemption once again. This could be an emotionally rich storyline that reminds fans why they fell in love with Mariah in the first place. Her honesty, her humanity, and her ability to find strength even in her most vulnerable moments. The impact of Mariah's confession will not stop with her alone. Tessa's reaction will be pivotal, as their marriage has always been portrayed as one of the most solid and supportive relationships on the show. Yet no marriage is perfect, and spoilers hint that Tessa may be blindsided by whatever Mariah reveals. If it's something minor, Tessa may respond with compassion and understanding. If it's something bigger, like a secret that directly affects their family, it could test the trust between them in new and dramatic ways. This storyline could be an opportunity to show that even strong couples face challenges, and that true love is about weathering storms together. Sharon, too, will be deeply affected. She has always been the anchor in Mariah's life, but she has also been critical when necessary, pushing her daughter to make better choices. If Mariah's confession reveals poor judgment, Sharon may step into protective mode, trying to guide her while also expressing disappointment. This mother-daughter dynamic is ripe for emotional storytelling, and spoilers suggest that their bond will either be strengthened or strained depending on how Sharon responds to the truth. Kyle Abbott could also play a role, depending on what Mariah confesses. Their history is complex, with moments of closeness and conflict. If Mariah's secret involved the Abbotts, Kyle may find himself dragged into the drama, creating new tension between him and Summer, who has her own feelings about Mariah. Similarly, if Newman secrets are involved, the entire Newman family could be impacted, from Victor to Victoria to Nick, who has always a protective streak where his extended family is concerned. Spoilers also hint that Mariah's confession could spark rivalries or rekindle old conflicts. If her truth threatens to expose someone else's secret, they may retaliate, painting Mariah as untrustworthy or manipulative. This could pull her into new storylines with characters like Audra Charles, who thrives on exploiting weakness, or Adam Newman, who could see Mariah's confession as leverage for his own gain. Genoa City is a town where every secret is a weapon, and Mariah may find that confessing the truth doesn't absolve her. It just makes her a target. Fans are already buzzing with anticipation, debating on social media what Mariah's confession will be and how it will play out. Some hope it will be a personal, emotional confession that deepens her character and her relationships. Others want something more explosive, a secret that ties her into larger storylines with the Newmans, the Abbotts, or the corporate wars that drive much of YNR's drama. Either way, viewers are eager to see Mariah front and center, as she is a character whose emotional depth and relatability have made her a fan favorite. Ultimately, Mariah Copeland's confession represents a crossroads in her journey. Spoilers make it clear that whatever she reveals will not be easily brushed aside. It will have lasting consequences for her, her marriage, her family, and her standing in Genoa City. Will her honesty set her free, allowing her to finally move forward without the burden of secrets? Or will it unleash a storm of backlash that threatens everything she has worked so hard to build? As always in soap operas, the truth is rarely simple, and confessions often cause more trouble than the secrets themselves. What makes a storyline so compelling is the emotional resonance at its core. Mariah is not just confessing for the sake of drama. She is confessing because she is human, flawed, and struggling. In a town full of ruthless power players and manipulative schemers, she has always been one of the most authentic voices. Her confession, whatever form it takes, will remind fans of her complexity and her strength. Whether it leads to heartbreak, redemption, or reinvention, it is guaranteed to be a turning point in her journey, and one that will keep viewers glued to their screens. The Young and the Restless spoilers, next 2 weeks. During the week of September 15th, fans can also expect Christine Blair, Laura Lee Bell, and Danny Romalotti, Michael Damian, to face some complications. They plan on marrying in October, but it seems there's too much planning to do before then. As for Billy, he will cross the line with Adam Newman, Mark Grossman. It seems that it centers around Adam's romance with Chelsea Lawson, Melissa Claire Egan. So, stay tuned for all the excitement.